Today we're going to be looking at the show Motherland, Fort Salem.
This is a show that's been requested many times. Just a warning, we are going to get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back. All episodes streaming on Hulu.
Okay, this was a really good show actually, really well developed for a show, probably because the creator, Elliot Lawrence, wanted originally to write a book. So he did a lot of world building, set up this whole alternative United States where magic works a little more powerfully than it does in this world. And the military gets a hold of it and uses it as a weapon, and we have a branch of the military service that's all witches. This show, because of its detailed world building, is a must-see for any fantasy fan.
Rotten Tomatoes score for this show, the audience score is 96 and the critic score is 69. So critics and audiences do not agree on this one.
This is a common thing in the fantasy genre. The show Carnival Row ran up against the same problem. There's a lot of critics out there that I guess just don't like fantasy. Mm-hmm. They watch the first episode and are like, this isn't my thing. There's fairies or witches and magic and just not into it.
Yeah.
So, bad review.
Yeah. It's really unfair. They just give it a bad review without even giving it a shot to stand on its own and be its own story. They're just like, fantasy equals bad review. The characters in this show do have ancestors that date back to the Salem witch trials. I have complained again and again that this is an overused trope in every story about witches, and it's just been done again and again and again, and I'm really, really sick of it. It's just been done to death, especially when you consider that the Puritans in Salem, Massachusetts, it had nothing to do with actual witchcraft. I'm just really glad they didn't have the three main characters named, Bishop, Proctor, and Nurse. Okay? I'm really glad the three main characters did not have those last names.
This world has what we fantasists call a hard magic system. That is to say, there are definite rules, and the audience is privy to these rules. They're not overly complex, but there's enough so that it has some credibility. That's the military, so it's a weapon, and this is how you use your weapon. Mm-hmm. The witches must train their voices. Spells are cast by emitting precise sounds.
The show creator said he was tired of witches having spell books and reciting spells in Latin. He wanted to do something different with magic, so he created this world where it's all about vocal cords. I appreciate the fact that there wasn't a Book of Shadows and they weren't reading Latin, and it was different. It was a completely different form of magic than we've seen in any other TV show or movie about witches, so very much enjoyed the magical spells in this.
The concept walks a great line between something that you're kind of born with an innate ability towards, and also something that you have to work really, really hard at. It's kind of the best of both worlds the way they have it set up.
Mm-hmm. It's blue.
No, next.
That taste in your mouth? It's failure.
Yeah, there was one thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Their primary magical weapon is what they call a scourge, which is like a whip with a crystal on the end of it. And that just seemed really awkward to me, just from a physical standpoint. You're going into battle, like spinning around and like flailing around with this thing, and it's not like a Morningstar mace or something. It's like it's a whip. I've seen too many Skullagrim videos and I've seen too many Shadversity YouTube videos, and I know that whips in battle are really, really impractical.
There were three main characters, Raelle, Tally, and Abigail. Raelle is like the rebel who's just there to raise hell.
If you want somebody who blindly follows orders, then you might as well send me back home. Look, it's not like I had a ton of choice in coming here, so this is what you get. My mom died in combat, under the orders of somebody else. So I think that my family has given plenty to this army, and if you don't like my attitude, that's not my problem.
And Tally is the idealist who joins up because she believes in the fight.
It's my duty to fight for this country. I think of it more as a privilege we witches share.
And then Abigail is the legacy character who's under an immense amount of family pressure to rise up the military ranks because everyone in her family has done it.
Obviously, you're familiar with the Bellwether name. My match line has the most decorated lineage in the history of the United States Army.
It's a very character-driven story. All three characters are unique and relatable, and there is no Mary Sue character, not even Abigail. Even she does not come on the screen like, oh, I can do anything and everything, and I'm great at everything, and I don't need to learn anything, I'm just here to teach you. There is no Mary Sue in this, which is great.
Yeah, if anything, Abigail's conflict is, I should be a Mary Sue, I need to be a Mary Sue. My family wants me to be a Mary Sue, but I'm just not. Yeah, the characters in this show were great. Plot was solid as well. There were a few times that they sacrificed the relatability for the character so that the plot could step in and shove the character where the character needed to go. That got annoying a couple of times. There's a couple of times when Raelle in particular does something or says something and the viewer's left thinking, what, seriously? Why? You know?
Because of plot.
Because of plot.
This must happen now.
Exactly. Instead of letting her get to that point organically.
So it only happened a few times, so not too bad. But what we liked about the show is there is no definite good guy, bad guy. When the show starts, who you assume are the good guys and who are the bad guys, it kind of flips by the last episode. General Alder, Sarah Alder, the general, she comes in the first episode as like this major hero and everyone is respecting her and admiring her, and wow, she's just a force for good, you know? She's just great. And then you see that she is like 370 years old. She spreads her age around by a group of people called biddies. Basically 8 witches who sacrificed their life for her. The position of a biddy is considered an honorable sacrifice, but it's so creepy because basically she sucks their youth away so she can remain youthful, and after she sucks their youth away, they only get to live about 5 or 6 more years after that. They accompany Alder everywhere and they hiss at anyone who disrespects Alder, and the biddies only seem to communicate with Alder and amongst themselves, so Alder essentially seems like an energy vampire. She's just like sucking everyone's youth away so she can remain youthful, so it's very twisted.
That leader is and has always been General of the Army, Sarah Alder.
She puppets the President of the United States and uses mind control over the President and other people.
I am granting General Alder
full authorization to employ military force.
That truck is now a 10-ton bomb. It is not enough to just knock it off the road. We have to destroy it completely.
General, they have hostages.
Alder actually sacrifices a whole bunch of people and then blames it on her enemies, the Spree.
The mission hasn't changed. Proceed.
No, I can see them. I can Craven. My intel, my orders come directly from General Alder herself. Do you understand? Now step aside. Now!
And Hallie, the girl who joined up, totally idealistic mindset of what she was doing and how she was going to help everyone, and she was on the good side and everything was good. She gets very disillusioned by the general.
This is a complete betrayal of everything you've taught us. What kind of justice is that? Every single thing that we've fought for and bled for has been a complete joke.
Were you that surprised, Tal?
Yes, I am.
Who is the good guy? Who is the bad guy? You don't know. And then even the Spree, who at the beginning of the season, you think, oh, these are definitely horrible, evil. Horrible, horrible, evil villains.
We are the Spree.
You see the armed forces kind of enslaving these girls.
I will faithfully serve and obey the rules and articles for the government of the Army of the United States.
All secrets keep. All lawful commands willingly perform as dictated by the Salem Accord.
And the Spree have a problem, and that's what they're fighting against. The Spree basically see the armed forces as slavery because these young women, when they're 18, go to Fort Salem, join up, and then the army owns the rest of their lives. They don't have any control over their bodies or choices, and the Spree find this oppressive, and other nations that also have witch armies have followed the same model that the United States is doing, where, 18-year-old witches sign up and then they belong to the military forever. So the Spree are comprised of a lot of ex-army operatives who got disillusioned with the organized army and said, hey, no, I'm out of here. I'm going to go fight for the other side because this is so controlling and oppressive. I can't take it.
If only you could hold on to your pathetic story of good versus evil.
You made us into murderers.
I made you into soldiers.
So by the end, you're not agreeing with the Spree's tactics, but you could see maybe they have a point. Maybe the military is way too controlling over these people's lives, and maybe there should be more freedom after it's just very, very oppressive. For example, Rael's mother married a civilian man, which was a big no-no for this particular military whose interest was in creating and maintaining these powerful bloodlines of witches and uniting them to create super soldiers.
Does me good to see the fosterlings. I remember when you were one of them.
So her pension was affected because of it. The army kept her deployed pretty much constantly, and Rael felt like they pretty much worked her mother to death. So she begins the series with a lot of bitterness.
My mom died in combat, under the orders of somebody else. So I think that my family has given plenty to this army, and if you don't like my attitude, that's not my problem.
The end of season 1, major spoiler, Rael's mother is not actually dead. She's alive. She faked her death to join the Spree to fight against the military.
You were supposed to bring me my daughter.
And you could tell by the way that the military treated her, like, just because she married someone who was not a witch, they pretty much gave her hell and ruined her life. They pretty much put her on the front line to be killed. So you could see that, yeah, she would be kind of pissed and wanting to fight against them. And maybe she wanted to join the Spree because the military was horrible to her. You could see how everyone sort of has a point as to why they don't like the other side.
The theme of the series is actually surprisingly critical of the military. It looks at things honestly. It kind of reminded me of the movie Full Metal Jacket in some respects. Because you see this is the way it's got to be. It's an authoritarian system defending democracy. How authoritarian do you need to go in order to preserve your way of life? The series doesn't go into anything preachy or didactic. It doesn't offer any easy answers, but it raises a lot of very interesting questions.
It makes me think of The Boys, the superhero show that shows if superheroes actually existed, how evil corporations would just take over and run their lives.
Hello, I'm Madeline Stillwell, Senior Vice President of Hero Management at Vought International. From Soldier Boy to the Seven, we provide the world with the safety, service, and the super it deserves.
It's kind of the same level, like if we had witches with superhero-esque powers, how the military just comes in and takes over their lives. So it's kind of that parallel, like if we actually lived in a dimension where people had superhero-level magical skills, who would step in? Who would be running it? Season 1 ends on such a down note. Basically, Abigail and Rael are pretty much believed to be dead and lost in the desert, and then Alder is injured.
Take me.
She's like, take me? And I'm like, no, don't take her. Just die. You're 300 years old. She's 18. Screw you. This is why I could never be a military witch. It's just I'm not suited for this world. And Tally becomes one of her babies.
Thank you, daughter. It's my honor.
It seems likely that they'll kill off Alder in the next season.
Yes, please, 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 please.
Just to get Tally back
her
as
youth.
as a youthful character.
Alright, so it's been renewed for season 2, which makes us very happy. And it's a very good show, so we suggest that you check it out if you have not. Our next review will be of The Secret Circle. Thank you so much for watching.